Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Big League Chew. This is episode 304. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Nate Reyes and Ryan Ripken. How are we doing, fellas?
Happy Monday, guys. We're back.
Just another day.
We've just established that Ryan's the happy guy, and Mondays suck, except in Ryan's world.
I was gonna say another day, another reason for Ryan to be happy. So here we are.
I mean, why not be happy?
It.
Yeah, why not be happy?
It.
Training a puppy, and I'll tell you what, having to pick up for him in the apartment and not sleep. But hey, I got up out of bed and I get to be on with you guys. So,
all right.
Do you have the puppy pads?
No, he's great. He is great in the crate, but he had a great. Actually, it was 50% my fault, 50% his fault. I think we both got to meet the same or meet in the middle here. So every morning he's getting used to not going to the crate. He's been great. He's crate trained and power to him. However, every time I just ask him to come out of the crate and I will pick him up. So today I got him out of the crate. I thought I did. He sprawled out halfway across it and halfway still in the crate. And then I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. He proceeds to get back in the crate and just pees for about 25, 30 seconds. So
that's a real power move.
It was.
I agree.
It was. Like, it was kind of like, I gave you the chance.
Good for him.
Yeah. But again, like, hey, positives. He's learning. I'm learning. And more importantly, we have some baseball to talk about today, guys.
Well, before we do that, and I promised myself I wasn't going to do this, but is he, did you say he's sleeping right now? Because if he is, I don't want to wake him up. But if he's around, I feel like he just needs to make an appearance. But if he's busy, we can hold off.
Okay.
He's peeing on Ryan's pillow at the moment.
Honestly, we put every toy in there that he loves. He has this lobster. I think we call him Lobby. Terrible name, but it kind of fits. So he's in there. But if we hear him, I'll run. And I heard he's a huge fan of the 3-0 Take. So we will get him. we will get him on board.
All right. Well, if you hear him rustling around at any point during the pod, we need him to make an appearance.
His name's Alek.
Officially a dog dad, by the way. When you start giving the toys pet names.
Yeah,
you're
that's
officially.
I hate myself.
You're officially in the thick of it, pal.
Okay. Well, that's that. So let's talk some baseball. Enough about.
Let's talk some baseball. Let's open up with some voicemail, shall we? Here's the first one we got.
Hey guys, greetings from Central Florida, hot and humid Central Florida. I got two things I need y'all to address. Number one. Y'all talked a lot about Joey Votto and his injury, but I do recall y'all were on his stuff, to put it lightly, at the beginning of the season, comparing him to, with his social media, comparing him to Trevor Bauer, talking all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to need you guys to address that, because it seems like you kind of flip-flopped a little bit. Second of all, I've mentioned this before, but I wanted to get some airtime regarding the Yankees. What is up with John Carlos Stanton's swing? Yes, that dude can hit nukes, but that is the ugliest swing in baseball, hands down. Discuss.
I don't remember the first part of that. Who was
Joey
like Trevor
Votto?
Bauer?
Apparently, we flip flopped on Joey Votto because back when the whole TikTok
I thought he said
business
Gallo.
was going on. No,
Joey Votto, like first getting on social media. So
yeah,
is that what he's talking
about it being a distraction, all that. Apparently, our tune has changed on Votto in the last number of weeks, which
sounds like us.
Yes and no. Yeah. Like it's kind of different now. We can talk about him now that he's not like playing in the games. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be more in tune with his social media a little bit more now because it's not a distraction. But that's just me. But hey, like, look, hand up, growth. I'll admit we probably were talking a little bit of noise on Votto, but I'll put my hand up if we contradicted ourselves.
I could still root for Joey Votto. I have no problem with Joey Votto, the player. I think, when you start, it's always a risk when you start getting into social media in or before the season when you've never done it before. It's like, it's a difficult thing. And it can be distracting coming from all of us normal Americans that spend hours on our phone every day. It can be distracting. So I think that's the only thing we were really talking about. I don't think anyone's on Trevor Bauer's level, however.
Yeah, no. I don't know enough about Joey Votto on social media, but I am aware of Trevor Bauer. He is, I think he's a little different breed with that. But okay, let me ask you guys a question with that. Is there a player, if you're on your own team, would you rather see guys that are, if it doesn't affect their play, obviously it's fine, but is that a concern with anything if you're a fan of that team? He's focusing too much on something else? Is it a no issue?
Well, the thing that gets me is when I'll be scrolling through the comments, which is always a mistake. But I have this illness where I scroll through comments on Facebook posts from the Red Sox pages, and the people will be like, tell so and so to stop playing so much Fortnite and get in the cage. And I'm like, it's 2022. What do you expect these people to just I understand they're professionals, but you're not paying them directly out of your pocket. Okay. So they're professional athletes. They're good at what they do. And for you to sit there, they're allowed to have a little bit of time to themselves, because otherwise that's called burnout. And us average Americans complain about it all the time. Yeah. Where it's I hate my job. I'm getting burnt out. It's well, these people aren't any different in that regard. Yeah. They need a little bit of an outlet.
Yeah, I mean, with Joey Gallo, or Joey Votto, I think it's interesting because his mentality, I feel like, has shifted this year specifically than prior years. He was very standoffish. He was very he was quick-witted, but he wouldn't give you an actual real answer, and that was just the way he was with media. And then we've seen him kind of switch to, let's all have fun. I'm having fun. I want to play as long as I can. So it's he's switched gears, which is cool. It's fine. But I think when you talk about distraction and being on social media on a regular basis, it's it can be interesting if you're playing for a contender. If you want to lock things in, I hate to use this example because he kind of bugs me, but LeBron turns off his social media every time the playoffs start. When the playoffs start, and they get going, he's off his social media. So I think you can appreciate when guys kind of lock it in. But I mean, as a Reds fan, I'm we're not competing. If Votto's having fun, whatever, I don't care. That's probably what it is. So that's the way I see it.
Nate, I'm going to need you to address the second part of that. Giancarlo Stanton's swing.
Stanton's definitely goofy, and with his stance, with him being so closed off, he's very much around his front hip. So when he swings, everything is out away from him first, and then it's sweeping across the zone, and it's coming from an out to in pattern. It only necessarily works if he can catch something on the inner half and keep it fair, or if he catches something deep on the outer half and pushes it away. And that's his goal. But the reason he does look so bad at times is because he picks a location. He's a location hitter. He just picks a spot in the zone, and that's what he's looking for. He doesn't care about, obviously he's thinking about velocity, but he's not sitting on a certain pitch. He just looks at a spot. And, it is what it is. We know what Stanton is. He's a streaky guy, and arguably the best streaky guy when he's going. So, yeah, it's frustrating. It can be, but when he's going, it's you're hitting balls at 120 miles an hour at a shortstop. I mean, that's something that's freakish. That doesn't happen very often. And if this makes him hit the balls, harder than anybody else on the planet, then I'll take it.
Yeah, he hits the ball very hard. I can attest to that. So I think right now he's rehabbing in Bowie, right? I think or he's in Double-A with the Yankees. So Bowie being near Maryland. And look, you're right. You nailed it on the head. But what makes him that way, he is such a big dude. Like he was Judge before Judge as far as size of an outfielder. And you're right. I mean, that's what came with it over time. But start off his career, he was super hot. With his career, everything kind of went right. And when he was on, it was incredible. But as you go on, as you get older, your body breaks down a little bit. And also teams will start to figure you out, and they know how to pitch you a little bit better. But the closed off stance for him actually is why he gets so much power too, because he's hitting against his front side so much, and he's I don't know his height and weight off the top of my head. Says okay, right now he's 6'6", 245. I think he could be a little bit bigger. He's got long arms, so if he can get extended, it's something you live with. But for the Yankees, that's been their motto, right, Nate? Live and die by the long ball. You play at Yankee Stadium, so you gotta take the ups and downs with them.
Yeah, shoebox. Second voicemail.
Hey Ryan, it's Peter from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I was wondering, what's your early prediction for the 2022 World Series in Major League Baseball? Mine is the Dodgers against the Seattle Mariners. And also, do you think Adley Rutschman will win Rookie of the Year award this year? Have a great day. Thank you.
All right. So
A little fan mail right off the bat.
Yeah,
I like it.
fan mail. Well, hey, I love the voicemails. The fact that you guys have this on every week, I think is great. And hopefully it keeps being a thing and people please call in.
Yeah, which before we get to your answers, a great time to remind people, like, look, just call and leave a voicemail. We don't pick up. Nobody picks up. You call the number.
Yeah, you're not going to talk to anybody.
Yeah, you're not going to talk. Believe me, I know I have real legitimate phone call anxiety issues. Like I get it. I know where you're coming from, but trust me, I'm not lying to you. I'm not pulling one over on you. You call the number, you'll hear my voice with a little prompt, and then you just leave your message. Just call. Leave a story, leave a question, leave a comment, leave a correction like we've talked about. If we said something off base, if we dropped a stat or a number, let us know. You're not going to talk to anybody. Just leave a message and we'll get you on the show. Ryan, please proceed.
Yeah. The last part with that, does the phone ring or does it go straight to voice? Like, is it ring a couple times and it's going to voicemail?
You know what? Let's take a minute here. We can put it on. Let's put it on the air just to give people a real live look into what happens, shall we? All right, this is what you're gonna hear. All right, so the number is 202-644-9302. This is what you're gonna hear.
If you're smart, you just save that as a contact. 3-0 voicemail. This is probably where people hang up. They're like, oh, it's actually dialing somebody.
It's actually a number.
Yeah. It rings out the whole time?
I don't know why it's doing this right now. It usually doesn't, or it shouldn't. I may have to make a switch here.
And that's okay, but I think that's a valid point to bring out for people, because I know if I'm calling a number saying, "Hey, call this number," and it keeps ringing, I might get scared.
I'd freak out.
What if this is
welcome
wrong?
to the 3-0 Take voicemail. Leave a question, rant, comment, or take, and you may just make the show.
That's it. Here, I'm leaving a message for the 3-0 Take. My name's Kyle. I'm from Northern Virginia. Just want to say I love you guys. Okay, bye. I'll hang up and listen. That's it. That's all I got to do.
Perfect.
Although I'm glad I did that, because now I know that it rings through. It shouldn't be ringing all the way through, but that may deter some people. So you know what?
Yeah.
Hand up. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Get it done.
Getting better. We're getting better today. It's Monday. Now to the questions.
2%
really
better every day. Thank you, Ryan.
Here we go. So prediction first was Dodgers Mariners, right? It's interesting. The Mariners, they've been playing good baseball, but the Mariners are going to go from a team we're saying of going from not making the playoffs in I don't know how many years, maybe since 2001. Was that how long it's been for Seattle? It's been a long time. Mm-hmm. So it would be a great story. I'd love to see a small market team. But honestly, right now, I'd have to say, and it's not going to be probably the answer that people want to hear, is going to be, I think it's going to be the Dodgers, and I think it's going to be the Astros. The Astros, look, their lineup's great. Their pitching's great. They seem to understand how to win in the postseason. I believe also when you have an ace like Justin Verlander, that goes a long way. I'd like to believe it's them. It's hard to go against the Dodgers with what they're doing right now. And that's what I think will happen, what I would like to see happen if we're taking out the Orioles from the equation of it. You know, I'd love to see the Braves represent and try to repeat. I think that would be really great. And I would love to see another team like the Mariners be in it. But realistically, it's going to be hard. I think Astros and Dodgers are 1. 2, Adley Rutschman. He's got a lot of buzz. We just talked about this before. How much was he all over social media the last few days with the Little League stuff? Right? He's everywhere. Adley is as advertised. And what we were talking about before, when I met Adley or saw him play, I didn't have a moment where I went like, "Oh my goodness, he's an incredible guy." I just went, "Wow, you are so good at so many things." And usually for a player, they have one thing that they're really good at, or maybe 2. The thing for him is he has 4, 5, 6 different things he's really good. He's great at receiving the ball. He blocks well. He calls a great game, can control the run game, and then on offense, he gets on base, he can hit for power and extra base hits. So when you have that full package, it's really exciting. And you hope, if he can turn out, in my mind, you hope Adley turns out like Buster Posey. That's what you hope. If you can have a Buster Posey for the Orioles for 10 years, you have a great catcher, and hopefully you'd have a couple World Series.
Rookie of the year or no? I think there's one guy that's specifically saying no to that.
I think it's got. I think Julio Rodriguez is going to win it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I realized I just forgot the question.
Yeah.
Julio, I think it's going to be too little, too late. Whether it's right or wrong. I mean, what do you guys think?
I got to go Julio.
I mean, Adley's making a case. He's making about as strong of a last minute run as you can. And I say last minute. We still have a good bit of ball left to play, but where we're at right now, he's making a heck of a run, but I still think I do think it'll be too little, too late.
Can I ask you a question real quickly, though, guys? So what's a cutoff point for you? So Adley came up in May. Do you think a guy can still make it up, but he has to just put up abnormally good numbers? So like if Adley came up and hit home runs,
I think May's enough time. I think May's definitely enough time. I think if it's
when was it? Was it early May?
End of May.
End of May,
I believe.
Okay.
I think if it's post All-Star break, that's where I'm like, all right. So the Randy Arozarena stuff from a few years ago, I was like, you know, you were up for 3 weeks, and then it was the, you know, the postseason stuff. And I get that he was hot, and I understand he was, you know, probably the best hitter on the planet for that time. But like, yeah, there's got to be. I need it. I need more than 60 games or whatever. I think that was like the lowest Rookie of the Year award was games played. It was like 60 something. So Adley's above that at this point, right?
I believe so. So Julio Rodriguez, just looked him up. He's played 105 games, 19 homers, 63 RBIs, 23 stolen bases. So he's showing a lot of his versatility. You know, Adley really the last month has really come on. And the big thing for Adley is if he's not hitting, he's getting on base still. He's got a tremendous eye. But you're right. I would like to see Adley win, but I think how the voting goes, Julio wins. But I will say this. I think Adley will be an all-star next year for the American League.
All right.
That's my prediction. Julio, Rookie of the Year, Adley all-star in his first full season.
Not to mention Mariners, that's a bold take to not have made the postseason for the last 20 plus years to all of a sudden being in the World Series. But
I agree.
We've seen crazier things happen, so who knows? Speaking of crazy things happening, let's talk about this Marcell Ozuna business, because I'll be quite honest with you guys. I have no idea why this man was chalked in the starting lineup on Sunday.
It's a bad look. Like, that's a bad look.
Not even beyond the optics of it. How is he even, like, there's got to be some sort of fine print that does not allow this guy to play in a baseball game. What, 2 days after being arrested for DUI? Like, there's got to be something in the rule book.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's also just got to be on the team to make at least for that. But he didn't start. Obviously, he didn't start the day after, right?
Probably hungover.
No, he got
really.
He got arrested. He got arrested. I guess like Friday morning. So like
it was like
Thursday
4
night,
a.m.
early Friday morning. Which was his second arrest within 2 years, by the way, for those keeping track at home. And was released on bond and was good to go on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some type of process that MLB goes through, and just a little bit of an investigation, get all the facts in order, wait for actual, legal charges to either be made or not made. But I think you're right, Ryan. I feel like the Braves have to step in and just be like, this is not what we need right now coming down the home stretch. Chasing a division, and it's not a good look. I think there's a certain point where you're like, I'd rather lose a ball game without him than win with him.
Well, we're finding that a lot in this day and age of finding the right thing to do. What's the valuable thing to do to send a message? And I will say this, it's not like Ozuna has been living up to the expectations for the team, for him as a player. His track record has not been very good. I'm looking at it right now. He's hitting .213. He does have 20 home runs, but that's not what you signed him for. Mm-hmm. It's not what you brought him into. The thing that he's bringing mostly to this team is a distraction. And for a team that's playing so good, that's one of the last things that you'll want. Yeah, I agree. I think they should step in, but I will say this. If there was a team that seems like they just know what they're doing and can just keep moving forward, it's the Braves right now. The Braves are playing really good baseball. They are obviously turning their season around from early on, and they're sitting 4 games back. I don't think it's going to affect them from the sense of they're going to go out and play, but I think as an organization and maybe the community might be getting frustrated with the continued issues of Ozuna.
Side note, Ozuna went 0 for 2 with 2 Ks and then was pinch hit for.
Yeah, he got booed his first AB walking up to the plate, got booed after the K walking back to the dugout. So it wasn't a good day for Ozuna. And who was the guy? I swear it was somebody with the Mets. When Ozuna got arrested on Friday, he pulled the I'm Ozuna from the Braves. Which, by the way, shout out to who were they playing this weekend? The
Astros.
Astros, that's right. Wasn't it the radio guy for the Astros that said, and it's Ozuna from the Braves as he stepped up to the plate? That was fantastic.
That was
Slight jab.
Great chirp.
Who was the guy with? I want to say it was a Mets organization that pulled the same thing where they like name dropped as they were getting arrested.
Oh man,
was it somebody with the Mets? Do you all have any idea what I'm talking about? I swear.
I feel are you saying evidence of us seeing that that's the case, or if it happens every time? I would lean on the side that it probably happens every single time.
But I swear we saw
it
was like a body cam video or somebody. I just can't remember who it was, but I'm like, guy, I don't know if that's necessarily going to change anything.
No, you broke the law.
And it shouldn't. And I mean, not to mention, you watch the body cam footage and he lied. Like, he lied in the beginning. And then he went back on his lie and admitted that he did drink. And it's just like, this is ugly all the way through. And the Braves, I don't care. You have to recognize this, and you have to, like, you got to step up as an organization and stand for something.
It's a bigger message. It's a bigger message, and this is, and we're playing light of it and joking, but all jokes aside, this could have been extremely bad. Yeah. And this could have cost someone their life. This is not something to joke around with. And I know that the video it can be comical to some, and to drop it, and there's good jabs, but the reality is things could have been extremely bad. And it's not just okay to say, well, thank goodness something didn't happen. It's no, this shouldn't happen. There should be ramifications for that.
You can't get rewarded by going back to your multi-million-dollar job the next day. It doesn't make sense to me. There has to be consequences.
A lot of people brought up the great point. Why does a man making his kind of money not just
have a driver
or an Uber at the very least? Like, just
that's always the case. It's always the question. But this is an issue across all sports. It really is. It's an issue across all sports, and it's this, this delusions of grandeur type mentality that some athletes have, and they forget that it's like, you are not untouchable. You are not unreplaceable, especially when, on the baseball side of things, you're hitting under 250 and you're not providing nearly the amount of pop the Braves were hoping for. And it's now the second slap on the wrist, if you will, in the same amount of years. So it's like, at what point are we going to recognize that this is not okay? And I'm sure MLB will do something. Hopefully they do something. But again, it's just, as a Braves organization, you just gotta shut things down, and like, I remember, for me, like, as a Yankees fan, CeCe went through his, alcoholism abuse, and he went through his struggles, and he got in that bar fight, and the Yankees supported him. They were like, you're headed to rehab now. Like, you're not getting penciled in off, like, you're heading to rehab now. You're taking a leave of absence, and this is what's going to happen right now. Why are the Braves not doing that, but instead penciling him into the lineup 2 days after?
Last thing I'll say with it, you have a responsibility. All of us as citizens in this country, you have a responsibility to try to abide by it and be smart and to do things that don't endanger other people. And then if you're a professional athlete, your responsibilities, you're in the spotlight, you have a responsibility to your team, your community, as well as living, if you're a citizen or not, living in the country. You have responsibilities, and I'm all for guys making the most or getting second chances. But if you do something, you're going to have to pay the price. You have to understand there has to be ramifications.
And look, I'm not in the business of canceling any
No.
But like, with that said, like you said, Nate, I think the Braves need to be doing more, at least from a public standpoint. Like, let us know what you're doing to help this guy. Like, if that's your long-term goal here, let us know what you're doing to help fix this problem, because it is sad. Like, this is clearly a very broken guy. Like, he's had his run-ins over the last few years, and I'm sure beyond that. And like, it sucks to see, but we're not going to sit here and cancel somebody.
No.
Like, give the guy the help he needs.
Help. Yeah, get him help.
Give him the help he needs, but don't pencil him in the lineup 2 days later.
Exactly.
I don't feel like that's much to ask, or that's much to expect from the organization. It just,
because that
seems
comes
like a simple
off,
fix.
Right, and it comes off as if they're not going to do anything about it. And what if he goes out and hits a game tying or a game winning home run at that point 2 days after? What is that? What kind of message does that send to your fans? You're now rooting for a guy that shouldn't be in this position right now, should be getting help, should be. I'm not saying release. I'm not saying trade. I'm just saying get him the help that he needs. And we don't need to argue about the technicalities or the nuances of how much he blew and how bad the DUI was. That's not what this is about. It's about, you're held to a standard as a professional athlete, and this is not okay. And it's weird that 2 weeks ago, if this is in fact true, that a guy putting putting cream on his head for his hair for an infection is slammed with, an immediate suspension, but someone who's actually risking his life as well as other lives on the road is not receiving something immediately. So
a history of putting people's lives in danger.
So I'm not yeah. And I think that's the other point of this as well, is that you can argue that, yeah, maybe a release, it needs to happen. Maybe something like that does need to happen because this isn't his first offense. And this isn't something that he's, new to. This is the multiple times of you bringing bad light, bad publicity to a clubhouse that's trying to focus on winning a championship. And that's not okay.
I know we said jokes aside, but last thing I'll say about it, I did think it was funny. Back to a lighter note. Now, I'm, again, not making light of any of this, not condoning any of it, but I did think it was slightly comical that he gave him his ID. I don't know if you saw you guys said you saw the body cam footage.
Yeah.
He gives him his ID, and on top of it is his MLB personnel card.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess that's a flex, a power move. I don't know. Maybe it works in situations that we just don't hear about. Maybe guys get let off like that. I don't know. But
well, I mean, it could be something that, again, that's, you're talking about the different organizations that he's gone into and grown up through. It's like that stuff is taught, right, Ryan, in the minor league system, like how to be a citizen in this country, how to abide by laws, how to go about things, and it's not just about learning English. You gotta learn a lot of stuff. No. And so maybe those things weren't taught to him when he was younger, when he was coming up through those rankings. So there's a lot of question marks around it.
I would say one thing that there's not a question mark surrounding is the fact that Gerrit Cole is a grade A. No, you know what? You wanted to downplay this, Nate. You wanted to say it doesn't deserve the attention it's getting, and that's where we disagree, because you said, well, if Marwin Gonzalez took the top step and made his way out to the Audi sign, as Gerrit Cole did, and not a step further, that you would say nobody would care. To which I agree with you. But we're not talking about Marwin Gonzalez here. We're talking about the ace of the Yankees, who has been known around the major leagues, the baseball world, of having this tough guy facade, but not necessarily doing anything about it.
I don't know why we're even talking about this as baseball fans overall. I mean, not just this podcast, outside of this. I don't know why this is a topic. Number one, people just love to hate Gerrit Cole, because this would have been just as much publicity and talk if he was sitting on the back of the dugout with his back against the wall and not coming out. Everyone would have hated him on that. But I
think the difference is you see how the situation should have played out, because you may feel differently about it because you were presumably watching the game. You saw this play out. The way I see it is that went down exactly how it was supposed to go down. Manoah hits Judge. Judge gets he's like, well, what's that about? Like, I'm not going to sit here and list off my numbers, but we all know like how I'm doing this year. What's going on here? Makes his way to first base. Manoah goes over and talks to him. You think, oh, are we about to clear benches here? And Judge and Manoah said it. He looked at Judge, was like, dude, I've been struggling with this pitch for the last few weeks. I'm not trying to do that. And I'm not a huge Manoah guy. I think he can be a little bit too much at times, but I'm like, okay, I can respect that. And Judge is like, you know what? That's fine. Let's brush it off. I'll make my way to first base. And then you got Gerrit Cole over there freaking wailing his hands, looking like an idiot. Again, like Manoah said, not going past the Audi sign. And I think the point is, and I think the reason people get so worked up about Gerrit Cole is he's always wanting to take it to the next step, but he never does. And that's what Manoah said. He said, if Gerrit Cole wants to do something, tell him he can walk past the Audi sign next time. And that's the only point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, because Alek Manoah wants no smoke with the guy that's bigger than him. He was not ready to handle Aaron Judge. Gerrit Cole's ready to walk up to Alek Manoah from what it looks like, but the benches don't clear. I don't understand why we're talking about this. The point is that Alek Manoah is ready to fight somebody that's smaller than him, but not bigger than him. And Gerrit Cole is ready to get in somebody's face and defend his teammate. This happens with every other clubhouse. The only reason we're talking about this is because baseball fans love to hate Gerrit Cole. For what? For what? How many times do the brawl updates that we get on our phone over the last few years, over all years, and it's never a brawl. It's just benches clearing and chirping back and forth. We never point out one player in that saying, hey, why are you doing this, not coming closer, not throwing punches? We're just doing it now because Gerrit Cole is attached to this. We're never talking about this. This is never a topic. The second Gerrit Cole gets involved, everyone's like, oh, you're right. Gerrit Cole's a goon. He doesn't want any of this smoke. It's like, what? This happens every year with every team in every clubhouse. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand this, but it's cool. It's fine. If you guys want to hate Yankees, if you want to hate Gerrit Cole, I get it, because baseball is better when you do hate the Yankees. It's cool. But overall, over the last month and a half, this team's pissed. And I like seeing energy like this. I like seeing the fire. So I'm here for it. And I like seeing that guys will defend each other and back each other up, because we don't have that big CC bear coming walking out of the dugout ready to throw hands with anybody. Somebody stepped up. If it's Gerrit Cole, fine. If it's Josh Donaldson, fine. I don't care. But somebody did step up and was ready to walk up to Alek Manoah. Aaron Judge is the one that waved the bench back. That's why he stopped. That's why he didn't go past the Audi sign. Aaron Judge said, no, we're good. Story over.
I'm glad you're not passionate about that.
Ridiculous. I watched the whole game.
Nate, can you just care about something for once one time? Like every segment, it's like, yeah, that's awesome. Whatever, man. Like, can you just get fired up about something? Because it literally never happens.
Never.
That's all I ask.
So
let's ask Ryan, an impartial source.
I'm going to give a different perspective here. And this goes to everything that kind of goes on with situational baseball. It was 2-1 at the time of all of this. 2-1 man on second base.
One out, man on second.
Man on second.
Count.
Or whatever it is. In my mind, I always get confused. And I know there are cases where some guys will hit a guy if they're behind in the count and there's an open base. But to me, when the game is of this importance, Toronto's going for the sweep. They're down 1 run. Why on earth, and I know that Judge could take you deep, but why on earth would you want to put another guy on and have it be first and second and have a chance for a bigger inning?
Because the rest of the lineup hasn't done anything in weeks.
But in general, baseball in general, you would think in a 2-1 game, in a competitive game, if a pitch runs inside, it makes no sense of why you would try to hit Aaron Judge on purpose. That was my initial take looking at it. The thing that gets me is with certain pitchers, like with Cole, I appreciate that he wants to defend his teammate, but I also look at it of going, again, it is a 2-1 baseball game.
Yeah, just think of this scenario.
It's not 8-2. It's not 9-0. It is a 2-1 game, and the game means something to the Jays. And for the Yankees, for that matter. But the Jays, if they win that, they move within 6. It matters. Manoah would have much rather gotten a double play ball, and I think they got out of the inning. But he would have rather had a double play ball on Judge than hitting him. Like, or not double play, man on second. He'd rather get him out than hit him.
I think for any Yankee haters out there to credit the broadcast is like, look, no, like Manoah's been missing with that sinker arm side the whole game. Like I think the difference was that Judge got his tower buzzed earlier in his first at bat. And it's like, he's 6'7". He's probably 6'8" in cleats. And it's like, it's hard to buzz that tower. And he got it twice. And so at that point, you're like, you know what is this about? And I'm okay having that reaction from Aaron Judge. And I'm okay to side with you, Kyle. I'm 100% okay with how it ended. That's how it should have happened. Manoah's like, no, dude. I've been struggling with that sinker. You've seen it all day. You've seen it in the last few starts. That's nothing intentional.
Props to the umpires for letting it play out. Like, sure, it didn't escalate to anything, but they were like, okay, clearly these guys have to have a little interaction here to clear the air. Yeah. And they I know we rag on umpires all the time, but I don't even know who was calling that game or who was on the crew that game. But props to them for letting it play out the way it did.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was settled perfectly, and I don't see anybody wanting to throw hands with Aaron Judge on the planet.
No,
I'm sorry.
And I thought Judge did a great job. He was calm from the beginning. He was frustrated, but he was calm from the beginning. And then the exchange between him and Manoah, I love that. Like, I just thought it was great being like, hey, that I'm not trying to hit you. And I think Judge, even though
that's why he waved the bench off. He was like,
but he did that before they even talked. He did it twice. So that was number one. But also for people with brawls, I think it is it's not good for the players because suspensions, but I know for entertainment purposes, everyone like wants to see a good brawl.
Yeah.
It's not fun because a lot of guys can get hurt. It's very entertaining. If you guys would like to go watch entertaining brawls, go watch the Yankees and the Orioles back in like 97, 98. Go look up that video. You want to see a brawl really happen and overflow from a guy getting hit?
That was crazy. Where it went into the dugout. Yeah.
Where it went into the dugout.
That was Darryl Strawberry.
Yep. Armando Benitez hit Tino Martinez right in the back, and it was on.
Yeah.
So go do your homework. Go watch that fight. That's entertaining. This didn't matter. Nothing happened, and Cole just defending his teammate.
Yeah. See, that's how I feel about it. But I get it. People hate Cole, and it's understandable in certain ways. But for me as a Yankee fan, I like seeing a guy that's willing to step up for your superstar. Because more often than not, when you get in that mentality of like the superstar is the leader, that's your guy. No one is in front of him. And then you watch the support. It's just like, I like that. And if this is what it takes to light some type of fire under this team, I'm happily here for it.
Last thing I'll say on the matter. I think the reason people like to hate Gerrit so much is that he's just, and that's why, and again, we go back to your Marwin Gonzalez example. The reason people are making such a big deal of this, because it's a guy who historically has never been this like, I'm going to go to battle for my guys kind of guy. He's very demonstrative. He'll bang the roof of the dugout. He'll get his
he's always been this way.
Time.
He's just not he hasn't been with the Yankees his entire career. No one cared about this when he was doing this with the Astros. No one cared if he was acting this way with the Pirates. It's only because he's a Yankee.
Yes,
getting the
that carries weight because you're with the Yankees, because you're in that market, because you have.
But he's the same guy. That's what I'm arguing. Is that he's been the same guy. He's always been this intense. He's always been this specific. He's always been this demonstrative. He's always been this, little mini maniac. But
that's the thing, is it just seems fake is what I'm saying. It doesn't seem like a guy like, not to play a homer here, but a guy like Dustin Pedroia, if Dustin Pedroia, as little as he is, if he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Even though he's like 4'2", he's going to go out there and try to do it. Gerrit Cole just seems like he's all talk, and that he does these. The camera's on me. Let me punch the dugout here real quick. Let me start crying. Let me make it seem like I care. I'm just saying that's how it comes across. Whether he is or isn't that way, that's why it
doesn't make any sense. He blew the game. He gave up a bomb. He's pissed. We're attached to the reactions of a player that people love to hate. We haven't talked about him for the last 2 months because he's been great on the mound. Baseball doesn't talk about him. That is not the case any other year. The fact that he's a Yankee, he is only getting attention when there's something negative happening and people get to hate on him. No one's talked about him. He's been great on the mound for the last few months. That's it. You don't hear about him. He's not in headlines ever.
And you wouldn't hear about him
until something like this happens where he gives up one home run that loses a game and he's upset in the dugout. Now he's all over everything. And it's
you wouldn't hear about
tell
him
me
if
how
he
that
was
makes
with
sense.
The Kansas City Royals either, which is entirely the point. Anyway, we need to move on. Nate, tell us about our friends over at Big League Chew.
Yeah, it's because New York is the center. It's the epicenter. It is. Tell me it's not. It's the hardest city to succeed in anything, especially sports. That's all I'm going to say. Big League Chew, founded by former left-handed pitcher Rob Nelson. Big League Chew started from humble beginnings in the Portland Mavericks bullpen in 1977. For more than 40 years, the iconic pouches packed with shredded, flavorful bubblegum has become the ¡1 gum of athletes everywhere. Big League Chew has sold more than 900 million pouches and is designated as the Hall of Fame bubblegum. Grab some gum and head to Big League Chew's social media channels at Big League Chew on Twitter, at Big League Chew Gum on Instagram to show off your Big League bubbles. You can also find a list of retailers that purchase any of their products directly from their website at bigleaguechew.com. BLC, Big League Chew.
Ryan, you got that Team USA roster pulled up by chance?
I did.
Let's look at the most updated version of that. Let's talk some Team USA. Mark DeRosa from the Clouds.
So hyped.
And Nate, when this happened, I texted you. I was just like, just give him the trophy now. Like, I don't know much about his history or desire or intentions behind managing or this or that or having this kind of role with the team. But I do know that he was with Team USA back in, what was that? Was that 2009?
Yeah, somewhere around that range.
Yeah, I think it was like 2009.
So it was when Jeter was on that team.
Yeah, so
and
he
Morneau, not
Yeah,
Morneau.
no, I think that's right. I think he was with him.
No, Morneau was Canadian, wasn't he? I think he was that year though.
Was it Mauer?
I don't know.
I know the team you're talking about. But anyway, all that to say, he does have a history with the team, so I love the fit. And just listen to him on MLB Network on a daily basis, I'm like, this guy loves baseball. Yeah. And like he said, he's going to do everything he can to win the damn thing. And I'm all about that because that's the kind of guy you need for an event such as this. An event that I hope to be out in Arizona for.
Yes,
when the time comes.
Still the plan.
Yeah. And it's still on the table.
Especially with this team being assembled by the U.S. Hopefully when it's all announced that they're out there playing, it's exciting. And honestly, so Mike Trout's the captain, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, for Team USA. Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Fact check me. Which I love. Well, first off, I just love that he's playing. I love that he's going to be rocking the red, white, and blue. And look, we mentioned this, I think this was episode 1 for me coming on with you guys. It is an exciting time, and these players have so much passion for their country. Mm-hmm. And for the U.S., it's really cool. And the list of guys so far that have committed, from Trout, Harper, Arenado, I believe Trevor Story, Goldschmidt, Realmuto, right? So
yeah, he's in
Pete
there.
Alonso, DHing.
Pete Alonso, like this honestly, in this case, is becoming like the all-star game, but something that actually brings purpose to an event, which isn't that what everyone hoped for at the Midsummer Classic? And obviously it can't be, it's just for fun, but now you get to have all those guys on the field and you get to see it. You could possibly see that in person. I want to see that. That's a good lineup. That's exciting.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm curious. I don't know how the pitching stuff works. I wonder how I'm assuming pitchers are just going to be like a last minute thing. I think that's going to ride out all the way to make sure guys get through this season healthy. They off season properly and recover properly. And I think they'll probably commit pretty late.
Yeah,
but
I think
scary
also,
lineup.
Oh, scary. I think the only thing it's their spring training, so I wouldn't expect guys to be ramped up. But lineup wise, I mean, Kyle, anybody else who you're excited to see with the team?
Honestly, I mean, I know we're trying to fill the hole at short right now as of the time of this recording. I would imagine it would be getting plugged somewhat soon, but I mean, you could throw out a list of names and I would be happy with any of them based on how the team already looks as it stands right now. People are throwing Seager out there, Trey Turner, Tim Anderson. I mean, literally any of those guys. Assuming everybody's healthy at that time, like that's a tough team to beat. And I think the thing that I'm actually trying to figure out in my head is it's probably safe to say that the event itself is going to be more electric in Miami. No?
I would probably
Arizona.
argue.
Oh,
yeah, I would probably argue that. Yeah, just
feel like the fan bases that you're going to get to travel to Arizona are going to be different. They're going to be less. I don't know.
I think we'll be surprised though. I think that when this event happens, fans will come out for it no matter what, and it doesn't happen all the time. They have a site in California again? They have one in San Diego?
No.
I don't know if they don't.
The only U.S. ones are Miami and Phoenix.
Is it only Miami and Phoenix? Because I was going to say in San Diego years back, that was the catch Adam Jones robbing Machado, and that place looked like it was rocking.
Yeah. Here's what's going to be popping off is Team Mexico here. U.S. and Mexico here are going to be awesome. It's going to be getting lit up in Chase. Canada is also going to be down here, and then Colombia. And believe it or not, there are a lot of Canadians here that they're kind of like the snowbird type situation here in Arizona. So could be good for Canada as well.
I just realized we're definitely gonna have to make this happen because I haven't been to Chase yet, and I feel like any other scenario for being my first visit to Chase, like that's gonna be very underwhelming. So like, give Chase a little bit of a leg up. Here, if I can make it out there for that.
And March, they're gonna have the roof open. It's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be 70 degrees outside. It's gonna be amazing.
Tickets, I mean, flights. See you there. Flights already booked. We're out there.
Let's go.
Last I checked, Nate, you said the tickets have not been made available yet.
Yeah, I think as of like Friday, they're still not available. I think they have to figure out.
That's true. Flights are always available.
The fifth qualifying team.
Oh, so they don't have that pod filled yet?
I don't think so. I think the qualifiers are happening.
Oh, right. Yeah, because of the qualifiers.
In a couple months.
That's right. Yeah.
And then because like each pool still has to get another qualifier. So I mean, just to recap, I know we covered this when it first came out, but Pool A is in Taiwan. That's with Chinese Taipei, Netherlands, Cuba. Just interesting. Kind of curious as to why Cuba is going to Taiwan when Miami's right there. But Italy, and then the qualifying team. Japan is going to have Japan, Korea, Australia, China. Also a qualifier. And then the Miami group is going to have Puerto Rico, Venezuela, the DR, Israel, and then a qualifying team. So Miami's going to be popping.
Oh, my goodness.
I wish Cuba would have been there. Is that like just too much of a homer situation? Is that why they sent him out to Taiwan?
I mean, you give him like a homer situation to like, I don't think
anyone's
single
gonna
person.
Go. Yeah.
Go. Like, can we have like a happy medium here? Like it's not too much to ask.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, it's going to be absolutely lit. And moving forward, the rest of it is in Miami. So we're only getting that Pool A bracket in Phoenix. Everything else moves on to Miami.
All right, so Ryan and I will meet you out in Phoenix, and then plane tickets to Miami are on you. So thanks for that. We'll see you guys there.
Deal.
Let's look at this Little League Classic real quick. Ryan, I know you were wanting to talk about this with your O's. With the result of it, I wasn't necessarily wanting to really dive too much into it, but thoughts overall.
I just like that what they've done with the whole event. I think it was really cool what they've incorporated with the Little League World Series and then redoing that baseball field. And we talked about this before. So I actually played on that field when the field was for the short season. I think it was the Crosscutters, maybe Williamsport Crosscutters. I might be messing up the name. And the field before it was redone was not in my top probably 75 fields that I felt like I took stepped on. It felt like you had to walk 180 feet to home plate, and that's not an exaggeration. The dugouts were past first and third base. But what was really cool was the interactions. I love seeing the players going and sliding with the kids, because that's what it's all about. This is where the love of the game starts for these kids. And I look back at it at that age, all I just wanted to do was be on a field, have that excitement, and be with friends. So the fact that MLB, kudos to them for doing it. As far as the game, sorry, Kyle, tough one for Boston, like it's been for quite some time. But the O's keep going. They're not giving up.
The O's own the Sox at this point.
Yeah, well, and the O's gained. It was like the first with the Yankees. Thank you, Nate. O's were able to gain games, I think, on the Jays, the Mariners, and the Jays, Mariners, and the Rays. Good day. Good day. Oh, also, Cedric Mullins announced right during the game that he was going to be on the World Baseball Classic. Like, that was cool. Did you guys get to watch much of it last night?
I watched the whole thing, but it was lame because ESPN, their crew they tipped it off. Like, it wasn't, Cedric didn't even get a chance to like reveal it himself. They were like,
yeah, that's true.
We're here at the Little League Classic, and Cedric Mullins has got some big news. I wonder what that's going to be coming up later this game when we have him mic'd up. And I'm like, okay, well, thanks for just stealing every last bit of thunder that said he had, but it's fine, whatever.
I wasn't able to watch it too much. I was working, but it was on mute, and I kind of had it behind me. What I will say is the kids cast option was genius.
I agree.
And I think you got to think that wasn't for us as adults. That wasn't for us to listen to. It wasn't for us to judge in any way. This was about expanding the love of baseball. And you know that of those 2,500, little leaguers that were there, most of those kids aren't going to be able to make it, much further down the line after this, as far as, college ball or any professional baseball. So it's like, how do I still stay involved with baseball? And I think having kids on ESPN is like, whoa, like kids like us, we could do this, and maybe I could go to school for this and still stay involved with baseball. So I think that was really smart too.
No, let's look at this kids cast. I've got some bones to pick with these kids. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was great. It was great. I love to see that. But, it did make me feel a little old because, Xander was getting his love. Like, he was getting his due love from, like, Aruba and some of the other guys. But it made me feel really old when you look at a guy like Xander, who's, like, one of the top shortstops in baseball. And he's got like, his little crew around him, kids wanting autographs and all that. And then, like we've already mentioned, you look at Adley Rutschman, and kids are just swarming this guy, and it's like, man, I'm starting to feel a little old at this point.
Yeah.
Because if I'm there and I'm a kid, I'm probably going towards Xander. No, like knowing what I know now, but like these kids now, they look at a guy like Adley and they're like, no, like this is the guy we want to see. This is the guy that's entirely the reason we're here.
You're right. Well, and also I would wonder if the Orioles weren't playing as well. Adley would still get the attention. Like, he still would get his attention, but I think because the Red Sox are really not playing as well, and Adley's easy to advertise. I'm not saying that Xander isn't, but Adley is an American, the number 1 overall pick, all the buzz around him. Like, why wouldn't you promote him? And MLB's done that. So for Xander as a player, you're right. People don't probably, baseball fans know, but they probably just don't know as much about Xander himself. And that's where the line draws, and the Red Sox struggles, that doesn't help. But regardless, I thought it was good. And to your point, Nate, you want to grow the game, and there's so many sports, so many options. You want to show that baseball can be promoted in so many different aspects. And I think for that part, the Little League did a great job, or baseball did a great job with the Little League.
Yeah, I'm with it. Is that an ESPN call, or is that an MLB call where they bring the kids on for the second type of broadcast?
I think ESPN has to be involved with that because it's their network.
Like, yeah.
But whoever it is, props to you, because that is great. And those kids, just hats off to them. That was awesome.
Yeah, also, I think it's cool, man. And they sit like in the middle of the bleachers, and they're just surrounded by kids. So anytime you see them on camera, it's just like I think it's just like, it's baseball in the purest form. That's what it feels like. And for me, anyway.
Did I see correctly? They kept it to where it was just the parents and the kids, right? Like, it's still.
I feel like it was just coaches of the teams. No, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of it, so I don't know.
I did see some like team. They looked like team moms, so maybe it still was the parents, or maybe it was just like the people helping with the team. So maybe it was just like coaches.
Yeah,
teams.
maybe.
I don't know.
I'm sure they have to have like chaperones and stuff, like a decent amount of.
It was a very intimate setting. It's not a big. It's not a big venue. Now,
it was less than 2,400 kids, or less than 2,500 people, I think.
It's a very small venue for fans, and it's a gigantic ballpark to center. So
why did they make that state?
That's what it
massive.
was. That's what it was before they redid it. I remember, and again, I think fun. If anyone wanted to know this, got to play there. We had a doubleheader one day, and we had the pleasure of being no hit in a 7-inning game. In the minor leagues, you play doubleheaders. Then it was 7 games and still is. So got no hit in one game. Felt really good. Confidence sky high. I remember I hit a ball and I'm like, oh wow, that's gonna get over the center fielder's head. I hit that. Whoa, that might hit the wall. And he caught it about 130 feet short. And it reminded me like, oh, wow, that's out there. So the dimensions, that's already how they were.
I didn't see this too much. I want to look it up.
It's deep.
The field was massive, dude. Like there was a couple guys that got into one last night, and I'm like, that they're probably making the way to first a little slowly for good reason, because this ball looks like it's 500 feet. It was like 50 feet in front of the track, and I'm like, well, okay, this field is not designed for a Major League Baseball game, because I don't know like what monsters.
This is 411 to center.
I don't. It might be on that, but I tell you what, when you watch it, when you're there in person, it plays. Yeah, it plays like it's the Polo Grounds is what it feels like. Not obviously not going to be that, but I find ironic too in that game, the first inning, the Orioles scored their first 2 runs and they were shift beater, bloop single, another shift beater on the ground. So it was just all this small ball, Mateo's ball down the line. And then I forget who went deep for the Red Sox in the end, but just a reminder for people, 2 strikes.
My guy Xander got into one.
Xander off Batista, I think.
Yep.
But reminder, with 2 strikes, putting the ball in play still has value. You never know what happens. Go watch that first inning. If you don't believe me, Orioles win the game. And the big reason why is they were able to get some runs early by putting the ball in play with 2 strikes. Just saying.
I think dropping Jorge Mateo in fantasy was the biggest mistake I've made this year. It was terrible. I dropped him because I was like, there's no way he can sustain this, and he's turned into be like the star for the Orioles.
Whoa. So you dropped him after he got hot.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, I've ridden this out about as long as I think he's gonna maintain this, and then sure enough, he's just like, no, I'm gonna turn into Mickey Mantle for the next freaking however many weeks, and here we are without Jorge Mateo. So is
he right now the best shortstop in the American League?
Best team in fantasy picked him up too. Thank you for that.
Love
Good
that.
job,
Thank
Kyle.
you.
Come on now.
I think in terms of being hot, he's got to be up there because.
I mean, there's other players you want right now, like Corey Seager.
Sure.
I want Trey Turner in the National League. You want him as well. Xander, same thing. But right now,
got 2
the
of
guy
those
that's
3.
playing with
Whatever, guy. Okay. Well, no, but like Nate said a couple episodes ago, it's like even if he goes 0 for 4, he still has a walk.
Right.
He's got a couple stolen bags,
bases,
a run. He just makes it work.
Well,
he's electric.
That's what I'm wondering right now. Down the stretch, I think Cedric Mullins and Mateo are the 1-2 in stolen bases in the American League. I thought that's what I saw. But regardless, Mateo is playing extremely well. I didn't even realize how well he was number wise because he had such a poor offensive first half. It's going to be interesting, Kyle. That I can't believe you dropped him when he was hot.
I know, dude.
Was there no trade deadline?
There was a trade deadline, but I needed a clear spot for. I don't even remember. It was one of my top guys. I don't even remember who it was, but I needed a clear spot. Or it may have been, I think it was Julio Rodriguez. I think I had to fill a spot. I'm like, okay, well, I think we've pretty much ridden this train as far as it's going to take me. And sure enough, he's still dominating. Speaking of dominating, Nate, it's time. Is it time for you to apologize yet? The people are clamoring, and you think I'm exaggerating. I have people daily reaching out to me saying,
I'm holding the line.
When is Nate going to apologize for the Albert Pujols slander?
And I already talked about this last episode.
I'm curious myself. Yeah, but then he goes out and hits 2 in one game. He's at 692 now.
If he gets to 700, I'll apologize.
The drum's beating louder.
It's simple as that, but I'm holding the line.
Real loud. What joy do you get from that as a baseball fan?
No joy. As a baseball fan, I already told you. I already told you last episode I'm rooting for him. I want him to get to 700.
Yeah, but why not just free yourself, apologize, and enjoy it like the rest of us will for the remainder of the season?
I am enjoying it.
I don't think you are, at least to the fullest extent, because
I'm a man of my word.
Deep seated, you've got that dislike for Albert Pujols' journey to 700, and I don't think that that's good for you.
I watched you fold on your Mets take, and now you just been a man of the public lately, admitting that the Mets are real.
Hey, when you're a man of integrity, people are drawn to that. You have the opportunity right here, right now. We all know Ryan
Stephen
is a man
A. Reyes
of integrity.
ain't moving anywhere, holding the line.
We all know Ryan's a man of integrity. That's a foregone conclusion.
I love Albert Pujols.
You have an opportunity here to put your hand up and say, you know what? I think he's going to do it.
I want him to get past Alex Rodriguez in that line. I can't wait for that to happen. I'm absolutely rooting for him to get to 700. My prediction at the beginning of the year was that he wouldn't get the ABs needed. That's all I'm saying, and that's what I'm sticking to until he gets to 700. Then I'll admit I was wrong, but I don't need to apologize to anybody. I'm fine. Albert Pujols is fine without my apology. I'm not apologizing. My prediction was this. I'm just reminded of this prediction, and I'm reminding everyone else of my prediction. And I'm staying to my prediction. What if
he finishes at 699 and they're interviewing him after his final game, and they go, "What do you think would have helped to get you over that hump?" Because if that happens, that question's coming. Like, do you think there's anything you could have done differently with your approach or your preparation? And what if he says, "Well, there's this guy out in Arizona.
I needed one more support.
He just didn't believe in me, and I could feel it. It was palpable." I was out there. Well, he's out. They just finished a series out there. That's about as close as he's going to get to this guy out there that doesn't believe in him or support him.
If that happens, you'll be thanking me because we're going to have a whole lot of new listeners on our podcast. So
that's a good point. I just want to say this about Albert. I also want to say this about Albert Pujols because we're talking about his at-bats and his games, and is he not going to get enough? So I just checked it. He has played the last 4 games, rightfully so. He went 2 for 3. He had an offer. Then he went 4 for 4 on August 20th, and then he pinch hit yesterday. So Albert's average jumped up from 228 on August 6th to now he's hitting 273. So he's feeling himself a little bit right now.
Just shows you the amount of ABs.
Right. So he's starting to
3 weeks, hops 50 points.
Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth. He's played 71 games. And his at-bats for this year, since we're already here, he's had 198 at-bats, 227 plate appearances. So, honestly, that's pretty good. If you were to have that over a full season right now, if you gave Albert 400 at-bats for the year, that'd be on pace for 26 home runs. Now, it can't work that way.
This is working out in his favor, the fact that they have a 5-game lead over Milwaukee, by the way. If that lead gets any bigger, then he will get the ABs. But if that stays snug,
what helps him is him getting 4 hits in a game
succeeding.
And 5.
Yeah, for sure.
Hitting the ball well usually gets you in the lineup.
Yeah,
sometimes.
And you know what people aren't talking about right now is the fact that he almost had a 3rd home run that game. He hit a single off the wall. And you think, well, how did he hit a single off the wall? Well, it's Pujols. Have you ever seen the man run? He's getting a single off that. But he almost had 3 that game, and I don't think enough people are talking about that, especially not Nate. Disgusting.
This could be his swan song. We talked about last time, afraid that he would not have that ending or have the career ending that people wanted. This could be it. I'll admit last time I didn't think he had the chance, but sometimes great players down the stretch, some crazy things can happen.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful.
You heard it here, Nate. Great players are capable of doing great things, and the fact that you're just not on board, it sickens me.
I'm sticking to my prediction, unlike you. Sorry, guy.
A man of integrity. Hand up.
Yeah.
I was just gonna get a shirt that says "hand up." That's me.
Get a Mets shirt now, because you might as well go all the way into it.
No, I'm not all the way in. Have you noticed? I haven't really talked about the Mets since I made my admission.
That's weird.
That's about as much as you're gonna get out of me. I'm not going pro Mets, but I'm gonna dial back to slander. That's my move. That's how I respond to these kinds of things. That's all I'm gonna say. Closing the book here. Now that we've pretty much wrapped that up, just had one item here. Look, just sham. Oh. All right.
Ryan is just reading the fake all over you. Just flip-flopping on takes.
You would think this podcast would have a few more listeners if Gerrit Cole was on this podcast, but he's not. It's me. So I don't know why you're calling me fake. Closing the book here. I just had one item. Nate Fisher. Big props to Nate Fisher. Name making the rounds in the baseball world this weekend. Was apparently a banker this time last year, and made his appearance yesterday. Can somebody correct me on that? I believe it was yesterday.
For who, Kyle?
Well, we don't need to talk about that. We don't need to talk about that. Yeah. Okay. Well, if this is the angle we're going to take, we can just wrap it up here. We can just wrap it up here. No, but Nate Fisher makes his debut yesterday. Yeah, he was employed by First National Bank of Omaha. Gotta love that.
Good for him.
And he was assigned with the job of approving commercial loans. And then on Sunday makes his debut against the Phillies. Gotta love that. He went, 3 scoreless?
3 scoreless, 2 walks, 1 K, 1 hit.
Love those stories.
Yeah, it's like the stories where, who was it? Randy Dobnak was the Uber driver.
Amazing.
Like stuff like that, you just love to hear it. I just didn't think I'd hear banker. It's pretty interesting. Although, Nate, if you remember, we talked to Ross Stripling a number of years back.
Yeah, he said he was being like in finance or something, didn't he?
Yeah, it sounds like finance is a way to go for a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
Surprising amount, I guess. It's kind of intriguing. Is that what guys do when baseball just isn't
fizzles.
going for him? Well, not even fizzles, because Ross was doing it like in the middle of his career.
Oh,
I
that's
guess
right.
just like when it's not happening for him.
Yeah.
The off season, whatever it may be.
He's being proactive. I'll tell you what, that finance is not for me, but power to him. And, guys, I had a pleasure. Sorry, I realize I'm looking at the clock and I know my pup is about to, bladder control is not his strong suit. So I just want to say it's always a pleasure. Love being on with you guys.
I guess we'll have to wait for the debut of Oliver.
Debut of Ollie. He's a stud. He's the goodest boy in all the world, and I am now an annoying dog dad. I apologize. And I want to put this on the record. I hate myself for it. And on that note, I hope you all have a great day, and it's a great day to have a day. And I'll see you guys hopefully next time.
That's all I got, Nate.
All right.
Man of integrity,
don't go chasing
Ryan.
curveballs. Don't go chasing curveballs and hold the damn line. Let's go.
Man of integrity. We love y'all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.